All right, so we're now going to answer D and E here. It says the owner of the estate is prepared to pay the additional cost to achieve earlier completion. The cost of reducing the time of each activity is $5,000 per week. The maximum reduction in time for each of the 5 activities A, C, E, F, and G is 2 weeks. Determine the minimum time in weeks for the project to be completed now that certain activities can be reduced in time. So what I want you to write here is this does not care about the cost. So crash all the activities by the maximum on the graph and find the new completion time. So very important that when you read this question, you recognize that it does not care about the cost. There's no talk about the cost here. We just want to determine the minimum time in weeks for the project to be completed now that certain activities can be reduced in time. Now, what we could do, I want to show you different ways of approaching this question. What we could do is just come look at our graph and just reduce everything that can be reduced here. So remember, the things that can be reduced are, and I'll highlight them, they are A, C, E, F, and G. Now, if I was to reduce each of these by 2 weeks, what I'm going to end up with is 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. And therefore, what I would now have to do to figure out the minimum completion time is consider the different pathways here. I'd have to consider this pathway, this pathway, this pathway, and figure out what my new minimum completion time is. So if we're going to do this, we might as well create a table because that will be very helpful, especially when we get to part E here. So we're going to create a table here and lay out all the information that we have. So let's try to be nice and neat here. I'm going to go, all right, my path. I'm going to figure out the original time. Does it spell original? Yeah, original time. The next one is going to be the new time. Then I'm going to call this one the reduction. Actually, I'm just going to do that. Let's just go path, original time, and new time. All right, let's roll this up. Okay. Let's now, this is where it becomes a bit hard. You have to be able to look at your graph while you write at the same time. So what are we going to consider here? Well, we can consider ADGI, right? ADGI. ADGI. The original time of this would be 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 6 will be 14. So the original time is 14. But we can also, for this one, reduce the A and the G by a maximum of 2 weeks. So that means the new time would be 10 if we apply those reductions. So 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 6 is 10. The next one that we can consider here is BEHI. So this would be BEHI. The original time of BEHI would be 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 12, plus 6 is 16. And then looking here, I've only got E in this one. So I've only got E, so I can reduce E by 2. And that means 16 would become 14. And then we would keep on going here. The next one that we've got would be B, C, F, H, and I. So it would go B, C, F, H, and I. And that's going to be 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 4 is 11, plus 2 is 13, 13 plus 16 is 19. Now for this one, I've got both C and F, so I can reduce it by 4, C and F. So that means it can be reduced down to 15. So for part D here, which is asking us what's our new minimum completion time, my new minimum completion time is going to be 15 weeks. So we're just looking for that, the new biggest number there, because that's going to be my minimum completion time. So for up here, we'll go 15 weeks. But the reason why we have drawn for ourselves a table is because now that's going to be very helpful when we come to part E here.